everyone. Welcome to Sorry I'm a Bitch, the podcast for anyone who's ever been called a bitch. Hosted by Kaylee Ellis and produced by me, Hannah Laree.
Welcome to Sorry I'm a Bitch. I'm your host, Kaylee. Oh my God. I keep forgetting that Hannah's producer now and that it's just me out here on a rock alone. No. Well, today I have some financial advice for the girls and for the girls only. Let's get into it. My biggest piece of financial advice is who you marry is the biggest financial decision you will ever make in your life. It just is. It will not only affect you and your future, it will affect if you decide to have children, it'll affect their future. If you marry someone who doesn't have goals, doesn't aspire to be stable financially and comfortable, then you will never be stable financially or comfortable. I don't care how much money you make. He will always be that anchor that is holding you down. When Zach and I met, it's not like he was where he is now, but I also didn't have to financially help him along the way. That is another piece of advice. Never help a man financially get to where they're going. A lot of times, women will help a man financially along the way. They will build their business endeavor and they will let you go. And they owe you nothing because you agreed to help them out for some reason. Who you marry is a big financial decision. I think if you're meeting somebody and they're in college and you see drive in that person, that's fantastic. I think it's different when you're meeting someone in their 30s. If you're meeting someone in their 30s and they can't afford their bills, baby, that person's never going to be able to afford their bills. That's just not happening. So again, this is an age thing. To my single ladies in their 30s and 40s, if you're going to get married, you need to be marrying somebody who's already set financially. If you're in your 20s, you need to be marrying somebody who has drive and who has potential. One of the biggest ways to tell this, if you are going out on a date with somebody and they don't pay for you. I've never paid for a man because why would I do that? So that's the least they can do. Again, understand that the bar is in hell for men. So don't put it further down for yourself. If he is not paying for your meal, no, that is the least he can do. He should be budgeting for dates. Don't take women out on dates if you can't budget to pay for their meal. That's ridiculous. And don't do that stupid shit where you pull out your card and pretend like you're going to pay. Stop it. We're not actresses. What's wrong with you? Put that shit back. Don't even touch your purse. Forget it. Keep it in the car. I don't give a shit. If he has to be washing dishes at the end of the date, then he's washing dishes at the end of the date, but you're not paying for shit. That's another piece of financial advice to get you ahead. Stop paying for dates. Don't pay for men. Oh, I had a guy ask me one time, can you give me gas money? Can you go to hell? Was my response. Yes. He was like, you live kind of far away. Can you give me gas money? I'm like, no. Gross. How about this? You come into my place and enjoy my air conditioner, pay my utility bills. See how stupid that sounds? You set the bar for your own standards. Men, if you want it to be 50-50, get out in the streets and march for women's rights. I mean, it's simple. Come on, what's wrong with you? And women, if you want to go 50-50 with your man, fine. But get your ass out in the street and march for women's rights. This one's kind of for the men. Investing in your marriage is cheaper than a divorce. If she likes flowers, it's cheaper to buy her flowers every once in a while than to get a divorce. If she likes a certain type of chocolate, it's cheaper to buy her that certain type of chocolate every once in a while than a divorce. Zach knows that I don't like to pump gas. So Zach always puts gas in the car. It's my favorite thing. It's not the thought that counts. For women, it's not the thought that counts. We would never get the wrong chocolate. Women know our people. We would go to another store. We would order it online. But men, because we have put the bar in hell, men think that it's the thought that counts. And then they go, well, I'm not going to go to another store and see if it's there. I'm just going to get this because it's the fucking thought that counts. No, it doesn't. Sorry. Inconvenience yourself. That's what counts, that you were inconvenienced, because I would inconvenience myself for you. The thought will never fucking count. The action counts. The thought will never count. This is for my single ladies. Have a roster. Where there is no ring, there is a roster. I think a lot of people invest time into one person at a time. No, you need a roster. Zach put a ring on my finger within 5 months. It depends on what your goals are. But at that time in my life, when I met Zach, my next relationship was going to end in marriage. That's not for everybody, but that is for my girlies who want to be in a wedding dress next year. Hannah would have a ring right now if she had a roster. If you want to buy something that's more than $50, now this is that's just the amount that I've set for myself. You can make whatever amount you want. But if it's more than $50, I have to wait a week. And then if I still want said thing, I still buy it. Like, for instance, my air fryer crapped out. And because that's over $50, I have to wait a week. And I haven't even thought about the air fryer. I have 2 ovens. I don't really need an air fryer. Now, there are things that I won't go cheap on. If it connects me to the ground, I will not go cheap on it. For instance, tennis shoes, or shoes of any kind, your bed, pillows, things in your car. Cars, I have a thing. I would never buy a luxury car. Girl, when I made the most money ever, I drove a little paid off Kia sedan. I had a boss one time. We walk out and I was like, hey, let me give you a ride. We walk up to my car and they go, that's hilarious. Where's your car? I go, this is my car. And they go, you drive clients around in this car? Yes, I do. You are my top producer. You make more money than anyone else in this entire brokerage. And this is what you drive. I said, yes. Zach and I have one car, a paid off car. Here's how I think about cars. If you have to make a car payment, so if you can't buy your car cash, because not everybody can. I would never have a car payment, but not everybody is in that position. Here's what you do. As soon as you pay off your car, you take that car payment and you keep putting that car payment into a high yield savings account. And you just keep doing that. And then by the time you need your next car, you already have all of that saved up. You can buy your next car cash. Don't have a car payment if you can. Don't have a car payment. I don't like to put money into things that depreciate. Okay. Be nice to staff everywhere you go. Why is this financial advice? Zach and I love people. So when we go out, we're always very, very nice. And a lot of times we will get hotel room upgrades, or the waiter will be like, man, everybody has treated me like shit today except for this table. And we'll get a free dessert or free drinks. This has happened so often. We used to have friends that would go out with us and we would get free shit for the table. And they'd be like, this only happens when we're out with you guys. It's because we're not treating the waiter like they're a piece of shit. There was a boss that accused me of stealing at a golf course that I worked at. I don't know how this was happening, but after my shift, liquor would go missing. And I was like, do you think I'm drinking it? Because I seriously didn't understand. I was like, I'm not an alcoholic. My dad's an alcoholic. At that time, I didn't drink. I was so afraid I was going to be an alcoholic. I was like crying and I was like, I promise you, I'm not drinking alcohol on the job. And he said, I don't think you're drinking it. I think that you're selling it, but pocketing the cash. And I was like, oh, no, I'm not. I swear. And he was like, but after every single one of your shifts, liquor's gone and the cash doesn't match. It really did look like I was stealing. But I got so pissed about it that I was like, oh, fuck you. I quit. I'm done. And he was like, that's fine because you were in here. I was going to fire you anyways. And he was like, you can come back tomorrow and give me your shirt. And I said, fuck you. And I took my shirt off and it just stood in his fucking office with my bra on. And I threw my shirt in his face and I walked out in the parking lot to my car in my fucking bra. What I think was going on was, I think it was the girl who had the morning shift. I would always have the late night shift. And I think she was doing it. And then she would say after her shift, hey, there was liquor gone this morning. And I think that's how she was blaming it on me. And I would love to know if it continued to happen after I put my titties in his face and left. Okay, if you have to borrow money for it, you can't afford it. If you have to put it on a credit card, you can't afford it. Move on. Well, I'm not taking out a credit card to pay for medical bills. Sorry. You can send that shit to collections. What do you mean? I pay taxes. I just saw someone who had insurance and had to end up paying more because someone who didn't have insurance got a discount. But because they had insurance, they had to pay more. Send me to collections. I'll deal with collections. To me, the only acceptable debt is a mortgage, something that's going to appreciate. You're going to get equity in. And I think it's acceptable to take out a HELOC. A HELOC is a home equity line of credit. So a HELOC, when you take out a loan against the equity of your home. So say you've got $200,000 in equity of your home and you need to redo your kitchen and you need $50,000 to redo your kitchen. First thing you should do is pay as much of that as you can cash. Say you can't afford the last $20,000, take out a HELOC and then pay off that HELOC as quickly as you can. Think of it as like a credit card, but against your home. So normally has a lower interest. I think right now you'll probably get like a 7-8% interest on it. Normally they can stay open for like 20 years. So which is kind of nice to just kind of have that as an option. Say something goes wrong, like the pipes leading out to your house. A lot of people don't know this, but if they burst, that's not covered by insurance. It's very expensive. We got a quote on it, 20 something thousand dollars to redo them. And we will have to do it at some point because they're clay. So they're going to collapse. They're 120 something years old. So it's going to happen. We're going to have to do it. And it's nice to have the option of a HELOC. Again, if you can pay that $20,000 just full cash, that's the best way to go because then you don't have to worry about interest. The thing with the HELOC, though, from my understanding, if you miss payments, you lose your home. So don't take out a HELOC unless you're a very responsible person. Okay, think of what's most important to you, and then that's what you invest your money in. So I don't believe in you have to be frugal with everything. For instance, like we talked about cars, they don't really matter to us. If they're reliable, they get us from A to B, fantastic. They're safe, fantastic. But I don't need to spend 40, 50, $60,000 on a car. But I invest in my home because I spend the most time there. That's what makes me the most happy. It's what makes the most financial sense for me because it appreciates. I'm going to get my money back later. And I like having a nice place to live. I live by this. Just because you can afford it doesn't mean you buy it. Lifestyle inflation is when you spend more because you make more. Some people also call this lifestyle creep. For instance, you can afford first class tickets now. Girl, do you think you're going back to economy? You'll never go back to economy. Every dollar that goes out should be thought about. Stop trying to keep up with the Joneses. You don't know those motherfuckers. Do you know what's something I've learned since becoming adult? There are some people who are very, very comfortable with credit card debt. I'm not one of those people. Somebody might have a brand new car or whatever. None of this appeases me. Having designer and clothes that cost a fortune, I don't give a shit about any of that. That doesn't impress me. Like when someone's like, "Oh, I bought this designer." I don't fucking care. Good for you, I guess. I like to have my money somewhere invested that's going to grow, not hanging in my closet. Doesn't make any sense. So stop keeping up with the Joneses. Sometimes people are just more comfortable with credit card debt. Again, a lot of my advice is for people who are already financially responsible. If you see that you've got a $20,000 credit limit and you see that as $20,000 that you have, do not get a credit card. But if you are a very responsible person and say you've got a trip that you want to plan, open a new credit card that's got 80,000 free bonus miles, put the trip on that credit card, take those free bonus miles, and enjoy your free vacation that you get from all your bonus miles. But pay off your credit cards every month. Don't put more on your credit card than you can pay off in a month. I grew up with not a lot of money. I started adulthood with nothing, moved to Las Vegas with nothing. So I understand opening the credit card and having to live off of that. But when I give advice to women, when I say things like, if you go out, do not spend money on drinks. I promise you, if you go out with friends, there will be somebody there who, but I just never had a problem with that. I would get drinks bought for me, whether it was by guy friends. What's the point of having a guy friend if he's not going to buy you drinks? Guy friends or this guy's at the bar. Again, you don't owe these people shit. If they buy you a drink, they did that at their own free will. You do not owe them anything. Thank you for this drink. Only take it from the bartender. If someone comes up to you and gives you a drink, do not take that drink. But that's how I was poor in my 20s and still went out and didn't rack up a lot of debt because I wasn't paying for my own shit. I also went on a lot of dates because I had a roster. So I was getting free dinner. I would only eat half. I'd pack up. That's my lunch for tomorrow. Like, just be smart. You cannot be poor without street smarts. You just can't. You can't be poor and humble, honey. You gotta put that ego aside. Take the free shit. Start a Betterment account. If you can only do 20 bucks a week, whatever you're comfortable with, but start one. Invest where you can and save where you can. I don't care how much money I've ever made. I'm still grocery shopping on coupons. I'm a big fan of SoFi. They normally have the highest interest rates on their high yield savings accounts, which is nice. They make investing super easy, buying stocks super easy. I'm also a big fan of Capital One. For me, I think their bonus miles and stuff like that is the easiest to navigate. The biggest financial burden is a child. So if you're not ready to take that on, don't do that. Let's look it up. Average cost of a child per year. $23,000 a year per child. I think it also just depends on where you live, your situation, how old the child is too. So I had a friend one time where we were talking about preschools. So growing up, your parents would pay for daycare and then pre-K would be public school, would be free, and that's when they would get a break. Here where we live, the public schools are in a lottery, so if you don't get in that lottery, really your only choice is a private school. So I was talking about how we were looking at a private schools and it was $22,000 a year. And one of my friends was like, "Oh, that's not bad. Isn't daycare and stuff like that like pretty expensive too?" And I'm like, "That's when you get a break though. You typically look forward to pre-K and on because it should be free public school. So $22,000 a year from pre-K to senior year. Finland is the happiest country in the world that you can live in, and they pay, I think it's like 120 euros per child per month. They have public health care, public education, they have social security benefits, they have disability benefits, including clothing and a nutrition allowance for disabled people. Their work-life balance is some of the best in the world. They're probably not poisoning their citizens. They've got low crime rates. They actually have like pretty affordable living for citizens, affordable schooling, affordable daycare, and universal healthcare. So I had a lady one time. I was sitting in Montreal. I was waiting for Zach to get off of work. So he was there for a work trip. And I was on the phone with my mom, got off the phone, and this woman was sitting across from me. And she goes, "Are you American?" This is right after Trump won the first election. And I said, "I am." And she goes, "Can I just ask you a question? Like, what is the deal with Americans hating healthcare? Like, why do you guys hate having healthcare so much?" And I was like, "I know it looks like that. I just don't think that people have an understanding of universal healthcare. I think that we are already paying, because that's the thing about America. You're already paying pretty high taxes to live here, and to have Congress go in all of the time and talk about cutting your Social Security and cutting your Medicaid. And I just don't. I said, I think it's just a lack of understanding. I think it's just how it's always been. Americans hate change. They just don't. They think the country is too big for a universal healthcare system. Okay. I think, I think we can end it there. Key points: don't date bums. And and invest in yourself. Thanks for listening. Sorry, I'm a bitch, and we'll see you next week.
If you like what you're hearing so far, give us a follow. We are a brand new podcast and we do everything ourselves, so your support quite literally keeps us going. And don't forget to tune in next Tuesday, right here on Sorry I'm a Bitch.